your private practice in a jam, in a hurry? Well, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to talk about what to do if you need to start a private practice quickly. My name is Adrienne Fuller. I am a speech language pathologist, seven-figure private practice owner, and I'm here to tell you what to do when you're in a pickle. Now, I am a planner by nature. I like to think about things, analyze them, and then make my decision. But from my years of mentoring new private practice owners, sometimes we don't get that luxury. It could be you're in a job that you feel like you cannot stay in any longer for a lot of reasons. You feel like your mental health is being compromised. You may feel like your safety is being compromised, and you feel like you need to get out of there quickly. Or you might be in a position where you were in the planning stages of starting a private practice, and then your boss or your company found out and they've terminated you or they've given you an ultimatum. So, if any of those have happened or anything else, let's just hop into it. When it comes to starting a private practice, you kind of need to approach it like the 5 WH questions, right? I know I've written this goal as a speech therapist in the schools, the what, who, when, where, and how, right? So you'll need to answer all of these things before you get started. So even if you're in a jam, I highly recommend you take a minute to breathe, number one, and then you also need to have a brain dump and answer some of these questions. Ready? Let's get to it. So the first thing you're going to need to answer is you're going to pick your model. How are you going to see patients? Are you going to do virtual? Are you going to do them in person? Are you going to be a mobile provider or a combination, right? So if you say you're mobile, do you go to homes or just schools? It is still your right, even if you're in a jam, to pick what suits you best. Even though you're in a jam, clarity is going to be your key. Okay. So first, pick your model. Okay. And hint, you don't need to have a brick and mortar to have a very successful private practice. The next thing to do is the legal bare minimums. So I'm always going to start this section out by saying, I highly recommend that you do a little bit of research into how to set up your private practice statewide, because we know states like California are very specific in the kinds of entities you can set up. In many states, you could go sole proprietor, you could do LLC, you could do corporation. In California, for sure, you cannot be a sole proprietor. So it's very important that you know that piece. So even if you pay a couple of $100s to consult with an attorney really quickly, or just do a consult with them, that is the best time and money you could spend. Okay. But here are some other things you will also need to do. You'll need to get an NPI. That's like an identification number for you as a provider. You'll need to get an EIN, an employment identification number. All of these things are 30 minutes or less that you need to do. And then you get that done by going right to irs.gov. That is a form, and you either mail it in, fax it in, maybe even now they have it online. And then you'll need to file your business online. So I'm in Florida. I used sunbiz.org to file my business online. Okay. And if you want to also file your NPI online, which that's the only way you can do it, you're going to go to the npess.com, I believe, website. Okay. Again, if you did these back to back, they would take probably an hour and a half, if that. All right, next, you need to set up a way to get paid. Okay, so figure out how you're going to take payment. Some of my greatest hits, some of the best go-tos would be a Square, Stripe. If you happen to be using an EMR, but you don't need one, you you can also bill through that, but you can use Square, Stripe, to get started, I kind of shy away from things like Venmo, Zelle, just because those aren't really HIPAA compliant. And you could set this up pretty easily. Again, you could take a whole day and do all of these things. Okay. Another thing is, I keep coming back to this. It's marketing. You're going to need to try, not try. There is no try, it's do or not do. Isn't that what Yoda said? You're going to want to think about how are you going to get referrals? Are you reaching out to your personal network? That's always a good one. Are you reaching out to doctors' offices, to the schools? This is important to say. If you are leaving a private practice or another organization, I know you feel like you're in a jam and you can just, even if you feel like they've done you wrong, the temptation is, well, I'm going to go where I was once going and tell them I'm on my own. Be very, very careful of that. That's cherry picking. I don't think that's ethical. And just think, when you make it, and there's a young therapist working for you and they decide to go on their own, would you want them to approach the clients that you are right now working to get? The answer is no, right? And so I always think you have a right to market to whoever you want, but don't burn a bridge because you're quite frankly pissed or ticked or hurt or feel validated in doing that. Take the high road on this. Still secure your business. We want you to do that, but don't take someone's patients that are theirs already. Okay? Unless you've talked to your boss and you guys have agreed that that's what you want to do. If people have come to me before and they have patients that I don't necessarily want back, or I just want to wish them well. Either we've worked out a payment that we can pay for those patients, or just take them and be blessed. But not every private practice owner is like that, and they owe you nothing. They owe you your check that you've earned, but they don't owe you anything. Okay. And that's just some tough love coming from your big sister in speech, because sometimes, and the more I mentor people lately, I've had an increase in, well, I think I can do this better, so I'm going to go after their contract. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's just not a good look. Okay. Next, you want to offer 1 to 2 services. So this is not the time to have like these extravagant packages, right? Figure out what you do, figure out how much you're going to charge, and that's what you put out there. Okay? This is not the time to like, okay, well, I'm going to do this super intensive unless that's what you were always planning to do. So, hey, I'm going to do this summer intensive, 6 weeks, $600, that's or whatever price, right? I just said that. But then that's what, but if you're a private practice and therapy is what you do, I do evals, I do treatment, this is what it costs. If you're in a jam, trying to get on with insurance is not necessarily maybe the quickest way. I built my business on insurance. We have a class, we have lots of content on this page about insurance. Uh, but that is time, it does take time. And so sometimes if you're in a jam, first consider you may not be as much of a jam as you want, as you think. But if you're in a jam and you've got to start making things or money quickly, insurance does take time. All right. And then the last thing is start seeing clients and then tighten it up later. And is this my favorite way to start a business? No. But I think in the doing, that's where the tightening comes and that's where the learning comes. Some of us are overthinkers. So sometimes when we are pressed, we need a little push and it gets us going. So use that as your opportunity to just get started. Okay. I hope was helpful. How to start your private practice if you're in a bit of a pickle, remember you're going to pick your model. You're going to do your legal bare minimums, NPI, EIN, file your business online. You are going to set up a way to get paid. You're going to secure referrals. You're going to offer 1 to 2 services. You're going to decide how much you're going to charge, and you are going to start seeing clients and tighten up later. You can do this. You're built for this. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. If you like this, share it, subscribe it, like it. Guys, it means so much. It encourages me so much when you do that. Okay? All right. Until next time.